From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBICV Primetime Capper, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope you are feeling the same. And man, oh man, it is what it is today. It is Tuesday. I know I've been taking Monday off, but we are back, and you know it's a whole brand new week and everything like that. So pretty much we moving, baby. That's exactly what we're doing right now. So pretty much, hey, it is what it is at the end of the day. And hey. You know, we had a big boxing weekend this weekend. We had Beterbiev, Beterbiev, dominate Joe Smith to add the WBO belt to his lightweight arsenal. He's now the WBC, IBF, and WBO champion. The only belt that he is missing is the WBA belt that belongs to Dimitri Bivol. So pretty much they're on a collision course to fight each other very, very soon. And a lot of people are now demanding that fight. But let me tell you guys why that fight can't happen like right when you need it to happen. Because there was already a contract in place with Anthony Yarde to defend the WBO title. So he had up next. So he caught out his mandatory. There's no way around it. And I would think that the Bivol Beterbiev fight would be better in 2023 because you guys just got introduced to Dimitri Bivol and you guys just went ahead and woke up about Artur Beterbiev. So at this point right now, they have no selling power in America, in my opinion. Only thing that they're selling is that they're great fighters and that they can go ahead and, you know, pretty much entertain a crowd. But why did it take so long? That's my biggest question. You know what I mean? So pretty much Beterbiev fighting against Bivol will happen, but it will not happen on the fans' terms. It's going to happen when the fight is right. And I know that they're going to put a lot of money into this fight. It has to be a pay-per-view event as well, too. So I'm thinking to myself, Top Rank would be the lead dog in this cross promotion as well, too. Even though Bivol is an independent and pretty much can go wherever he wants to. So, you know, Eddie's not going to hold you back from having a scrap with these guys, but Matchroom would like to be a part of the promotion as well, too. So with the issues between Eddie Hearn and Bob Arum, you don't know if this fight's going to happen, but they were able to make another fight happen. That was Teofimo and George Kambosas, but I think that's where the beef comes from as well too, because George Kambosas really didn't have any, you know, he wasn't signed to DAZN. They just picked up the fight because Triller didn't do what they were supposed to do. But let me just stick to the topic. Beterbiev was so dominant, and I would say right now he's the baddest man on the planet. Seriously. This guy has nothing but bad intentions. And from what I saw, what I thought was incredible, he said, no walkout music, no robe, no none of the extras. Just get me to the ring so I can go ahead and do my job. And he went ahead and did that job in 2 rounds. Joe Smith is a top light heavyweight. He's a guy that has a great story. A lot of people attract to him. But there's levels to this, and he wasn't on Beterbiev's level. So it is what it is at the end of the day. Artur Beterbiev impressed upon me that he is probably the most dangerous boxer in boxing today when it comes down to the all around segment. But I wouldn't put him as the top pound for pound boxer. I think that for you to be the top pound for pound boxers, you got to put butts in the seat as well too. It's just not about the skills and what you do on tape. It's about who's at the fight. Did you get a bunch of celebrities to come to the fight? Did you do any of that? Nope. So pretty much the selling power isn't all the way there yet. But I would say this, Beterbiev will be in a better situation when he goes to London, sellout crowd. Yardy is from that area, from Europe as well. So it will be huge. It will be a big presentation out there as well, too, that will be able to I would say the momentum will be able to follow over to the fight with Bivol sometime probably in January, February, no later than March, in my opinion. Now, with the fight being the U.S., maybe not. They got to go to where they can make the most dollars at, and that's where Eddie Hearn and Bob Arum run into their problem. I think the fight is destined to be, if it's going to be in America, the fight is destined to be in New York City. It has to be at the Garden. I think that's a more respectable place. That's where they have a big Russian fan bases there as well, too. So it would make a lot of sense to do the fight in New York City, in my opinion. So let's go ahead and move on to some other news real quick in the boxing world. And that's going to be Mr. George Kambosas. George Kambosas has activated the rematch clause with Devin Haney after losing the WBA, the WBO, the IBF belt, and the Ring Magazine belt. He did have this clause in his contract already. So now he's going to go back to bat, and he feels like he's going to make the adjustments and pull a Rocky off against Devin Haney and get his belts back. I truly do think that this is kind of a posture in a sense. I think that he wants to hit Devin Haney's pockets, to be honest with you. I think that he wants to figure out a way to get that step-aside money. And if he doesn't get that step-aside money, he can get top dollar for this fighting back in Australia, which was agreed upon as well, too. I feel like Devin put himself in a bad position in that spot because you shouldn't have to go back and fight this guy in his home country if you whooped his ass like the way Devin did. Now, I would think it's fair enough for Kambosas to say, you know what, we're going to reverse the situation. I just want the fight. And then Devin can have the fight in Las Vegas, and it can be Devin's first real sellout as well, too, because now Devin Haney is box office. He wasn't box office before he had all the belts, okay? He was a guy that people were very intrigued with, but they didn't know what he was going to be after, especially after the Linares fight, when he fought Jojo Diaz, all those, there was a lot of questions that came in after that, Gamboa as well, too. But I just think that Devin Haney does a great job of just boxing. And I think that he does it so well that people just don't want to just, give him his absolute due respect. It's not an exciting style, but it gets the job done. And I truly do feel like a megastar was made when he was able to win that big fight here against Kambosas to unite all the belts, because he already had the WBC belt, which came into question because they called him an email champ. Now he has all the belts, and you can't keep saying he's an email champ. And I would say this, he did defend that belt 3 times, and he was never an email champ. He was the interim champ. And what's natural when they strip the belt of somebody when they don't want to fight somebody, they take the belt and give it to the next guy up. Or he goes into a fight to where that belt will be won. But since he was the interim champ, he automatically becomes the WBC champion. But that didn't necessarily mean that he was already the WBC champion. He had to go against the number 1 contender in that in the WBC, and that was I think the Dominican guy at that time. So pretty much that's what he had to do, because that's literally was the mandatory right there. So you guys have to understand, Devin Haney is trying to do all the fights right now, and he knows that he had to do it kind of in a different way from everybody else, is where he didn't have a significant promoter. He started out working with Espinosa and Showtime. Then he moved on to Eddie Hearn and DAZN, but it's always been Devin Haney Promotions as well, too. And now he's got the Top Rank, where Top Rank is the business. They're a business. They have been doing boxing for 60 years now. So pretty much that's almost like you're going to the house that like Ali built and things of that nature. So you're pretty much like would be going to the boxing version of the Yankees, in my opinion. And you know that you're going to be taken care of. Everything is going to be done right. And they're going to be able to push you in a different way than most of the other promoters that had you before, because you were so young. And and at that point in time, you were nowhere near a title. Now he has all the belts, and now he can call his own dollar amount out as well, too. So I know that they're going to have to pay Devin really big for him to go ahead and go forward with all the obligations that George Kambosas has put into the contract, because there's ways of buying yourself out of those things. So it is what it is at the end of the day. Kambosas is showing a lot of courage, and you know what? It's owed to him because he was the champion. They did sign off on it, and hey, it is what it is. It is a rematch that people said that they don't want to see, but we'll get to fight week, and we'll have people talking about, I think Kambosas can upset him. You have to understand how boxing minds work. They say they don't want one thing, but once that event is upon them, they'll accept it. So it is what it is at the end of the day. Now, let's move forward and talk about business. This is kind of like a gossip situation, but you know what? In a way, I have some information that most aren't really aware of when it comes to this fight, and that this fight is going to happen. It may happen in December. It may happen in early 2023. I would say if they do it early 2023, it will fall in around March or April. As March seems like a more feasible situation, because that could fall in line with March Madness, which is pretty big, because you will be able to have that night crowd spill into, into the big fight and everything like that. But this fight would be the biggest event of the year, period, pretty much point blank. If you do it in 2022 or 2023, because you have to understand, this would be the equivalent of boxing having their most popular social media guys going at it. This reminds me a lot of when, say, we were saying who the hip hop champion was, and Zab Judah and Floyd Mayweather held that distinction. And then we had who's the better, Olympian, who's the better guy. That was Tank and Ryan Garcia. I mean, I'm not Tank and Ryan Garcia, but Floyd and Oscar De La Hoya. So, you got this fight. It gives me the similarities of all the big overhyped fights that a lot of people say that they want to see. What makes this fight so incredible is the star power that will be involved in this fight. This is the type of fight where you can get these guys on Kimmel, Fallon, all those places to sell this fight. That's the whole thing. This fight would be bigger than big. It would be a real event, and it would cater onto the level of Wilder or Fury, which I'm talking about what we received recently, or the Triple G and Canelo. It could be even bigger than that, because you're bringing in a lot of outside sources, a lot of outside audience, and this would demand a big platform to show it. It might be even a platform that's bigger than all the networks that are vying for the fight. So I would say this may be $100 pay-per-view, to be honest with you. I would tell fans that they would probably have to prepare for that, because this fight is a fight that is in demand. And this is a fight that can make both of these guys and their promoters a whole lot of money. And I think that's what the driving force of this whole situation truly is at the end of the day. So Garcia versus Tank, expect that announcement to come. Even if Garcia loses, he could still garner that shot from Tank Davis. You know what I mean? So I doubt he loses, but he does need to focus in on Fortuna a little bit more. Fortuna is a dangerous opponent. I think Fortuna would really dominate him to get the win here, but anything can happen. So he has to focus in on who he actually has to fight at this moment. He was talking a lot at the press conference, but he's not fighting Tank yet. He's fighting Fortuna. So if he doesn't show up for this Fortuna fight, it's going to be an egg all over his face, but then it will probably make guys like Devin Haney and Tank a little bit more serious about taking the fight, because now they know he got some loss on his record. They have seen the flaws, and they want to make them some money, because Ryan Garcia is going to sell tickets regardless of winning or losing. It's that simple. When the ladies love one of these guys, they're going to show up for their baby. So y'all just have to just deal with that part. All right. So there it is. Garcia versus Tank. And if I had to give my early prediction on this one, a lot of people will probably catch me say, Pop, you tripping. But I'm saying to myself, if Ryan goes in there with the same game plan as Rolly and fights from the outside, that would be something very dangerous for Tank, because the way that Ryan throws that quick left hook as well too. So pretty much that's something to where this fight is a real chess match, and it won't be a walk in the park for Tank Davis like everybody thinks it is, because y'all think Ryan's just a pretty boy. That boy can fight. All right. I've seen him in training. I've seen him in fights live. Ryan Garcia ain't no joke, to be honest with you. Okay. It doesn't matter on who he faced. He annihilated those guys. And I see guys face those same guys who have the same type of hype to them, and they went the full distance with him. So we can stop all the, the talk about him not being on the level. Oh, he's definitely on the level. It's called matchmaking, and it's called prepping your boxer the correct way. You do not bring up these young boxers and throw them right into the lion's den immediately, okay? That's what's really wrong with you guys. You guys have to understand that they have to get to the point to where they're making these promotions money, and they have to put so much hype and so much hype into these mega fights. Mega fights don't happen in a few months. It takes a few years to build it up and put everything together, so then you can show the numbers, and then you can go ahead and justify how much you're paying these guys, okay? So pretty much that's a little bit of boxing business 101 for you guys who just really don't understand how the business works. You guys want everything to be your way, and you say, okay, UFC does it, but UFC is a different beast. They're running off. They got one budget in place. The main event makes the biggest part of the purse. Everybody else makes the whatever's left over, correct? And then you get fight of the night bonuses, things like that. It's almost like those guys are scraping for dollars in UFC, but they don't really worry about the money. They want to have the prestige, the pride, the fact that they went in there and tried their best in a cage. In boxing, your life can be ended with one punch. The same thing can happen in UFC, but your life can be ended. Not necessarily you leave this earth, but your life can be ended in the point to where you can't move on your own no more. You can't walk no more. So you have to understand what they've signed up for, and they not just going to come up in here and punch on each other for a couple dollars for your entertainment. This is an event, okay? You're not going to go ahead and take whatever they handing out for an event. These guys are both looking to get paid 8 figures or better. And I know it sounds crazy today, but it won't sound crazy when they book this fight. All right. So there it is with Garcia Vs Tank, late 22, early 23. That's my guesstimate on when this fight will happen, because I think this fight will happen, will be booked right after we get done with this Fortuna fight. So we move forward. Let's go ahead and talk about the pay-per-view that's going to be over at the Crypto. And yeah, they're going to do this over at Crypto. It's a pay-per-view. I don't think they would waste the pay-per-view over at Carson like they did last year, because you want a bigger venue for this one. You want to make sure that you do have Andy Ruiz there, in the flesh and things like that for his people. Andy Ruiz, the reason why this fight is on pay-per-view is because both these guys have fought on pay-per-view already. Ortiz has fought on pay-per-view numerous times. He fought Wilder on, the first one was on Showtime. The second one was a pay-per-view. And, once Ruiz won that undisputed unified situation where he was the champion for a few months, where he was able to get the IBF, the WBA, the WBO, and the IBO belt. He wasn't able to obtain the Ring Magazine belt because the Ring Magazine belt didn't go up for challenge until it was Wilder Fury 2. So pretty much he had those 4 belts in place. Now, Andy was a unified champion, and so he got paid large sums of money for those 2 fights. So now his dollar amount on how much you got to pay him has went up. So Andy Ruiz will probably never fight on a regular broadcast again, like a Showtime or a Fox broadcast. He's probably always going to be on pay-per-view from now on. And people say, oh, why hasn't Andy fought so much since that time? Because Andy's only fought 3 times. Well, he's only fought twice since winning that championship. He fought AJ, then he fought Areola last summer. And that's just Andy Ruiz. He takes a lot of time off. So pretty much, because it's tough to book a fight for this guy, because, you got guys who are sitting there on the way up and they don't want to take any risk. And then you have guys that are not really on the level of Andy Ruiz, so they can't pay them the dollar amount that they will want to pay, that they will want to pay, because Andy Ruiz is a marketable fighter. That's what they're doing here. he's the first ever Mexican heavyweight champion. So you're going to sell that. And he's not leaving pay-per-view anytime soon because he puts asses in the seats. He truly does. And you guys have to understand that part. And then Ortiz is a guy that's an exciting fighter. He did fight on pay-per-view the first of this year. So there should be no shock in this. Both these guys, the last fights were both on pay-per-view. Why would they go backwards and have them fight on Fox, just regular Fox? Makes no sense. The event's too big for it to be just on regular Fox. Okay. So that's the reason why this is a pay-per-view. And will it be a worthy pay-per-view? I think it will, because what it's going to probably highlight is a lot of other up-and-coming Mexican fighters that will be very exciting for years to come. As you guys know, Isaac Cruz is on that card as well, too. He's going to be the co-main event for that card. So that's going to be huge. This is going to be a big, big day for Mexican boxing fans, okay? So they're going to show up for this fight, and they're going to show out for this fight. It's going to be really good. And if I have to take my early pick on this one, I'm going to say that actually I like King Kong Ortiz in this one. I think that he has a big shot of, I wouldn't call it an upset, but he got a big shot of beating Andy Ruiz if the fight does go to the cards. Now, when it comes to the knockout, I think that portion goes to Andy Ruiz, where the big knockout can happen in this fight. But you never know, because Ortiz did put out Charles Martin, but Charles Martin has been put out before. But that's meh. And you guys got to understand, that's a damn good heavyweight as well, too. And so never sleep on him. He just, once he fights against the top talent, though, it just hasn't went well. But it's all good, though. He's been able to, put a name out there for himself, and he'll probably get himself another title shot as well, too. But all in all, Ruiz Ortiz, it's going to be a good one here in LA. I should be there as well, too. And it should be a very good fight between two top heavyweights, man. Heavyweight division is a dollars division, and when you're a top heavyweight, they got to pay you, man. So it is what it is. That's what we're doing here, and pretty much that's what it's going to be on September 4th. That fight actually got pulled back a little bit. It was slated for August, but they're going to now do it in September. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break, and when I get back, we're going to go ahead and get into some baseball. You see me with my Brooklyn hat on. I'm ready to rock out today, baby. You already know baseball season is upon us. There's no more football. There's no more basketball. Well, pro basketball, men's basketball. We still got the WNBA, but we have baseball, which is turning into my favorite sport because there's no politics involved in this sport. A little bit of politics, but nothing too crazy, nothing that stops the game. You know what I mean? So, hey, it is what it is. And pretty much we'll be back in a moment to go ahead and break down the Yankees big move right now, and the Guardians being the hottest team in baseball since the end of May, and then also talking about the Dodgers opening game here on a 9-game road trip as well too. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper.
Now you and your friends can compete in the sport of kings and win big with Stable Duel. Get the app, pick your horses, and get in on the thrill of horse racing with daily games competing against other players. Bring home the glory and the cash, and move up the annual leaderboard while you leave your competition in the dust. Get in the game with Stable Duel. Play, race, win.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
All right, we are back with the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live, and let's go ahead and get into the state of baseball right now. The Yankees back in business right now. The Yankees have been killing it lately, man. The Yankees looking really, really good here. I'm looking at their record right now, best record in baseball, like literally running away with this thing. The Dodgers were actually toe and toe with them for a bit, but the Dodgers have ran into a little bit of an ill run. I would say this: the Dodgers 7-12, pretty much in their last 19 games. They were 33-13 at one point, and then they just kind of struggled a little bit. They've been swept a few times as well too. So the Yankees have been so good. They're 50-17 this year. They have a plus 145 run differential against opponents as well too. And right now they're on another big winning streak as well too. The Yankees have just been so good this season. Let's see how they've done this month. The Yankees have lost twice this month. Twice this month. I'll say it again. They've lost twice this month. All right. And they just had a 9-game winning streak snapped. All right. So they're 17-2 this month. That is absolutely incredible. Now, they have feasted on some bad teams, though. But I can't say that about Tampa Bay and the Blue Jays. But, you know, Detroit, the Angels, what they've been going through, and the Cubs. Come on, the Cubs. Everybody whooping up on the Cubs this year. But that does not matter. The Yankees don't care. They've been going in there, and they look like a team. Right now, they're 50-17. If everything holds up, they could possibly win 110 games or better this season. And I think that's exactly what will happen. The Yankees have hitters on hitters, and then they have good enough pitching to put them in position to win games night in and night out. Now, they do have the same issues that they've always had. The middle of the rotation, I saw what happened Sunday. They had an 8-3 lead, and they wound up smoking that game and pretty much gave up 7 runs and only scored 1 more run after that, losing the game 9-10 to the Blue Jays. But it's a Sunday afternoon. It's in Toronto, and that was one of those games where, you know, you entertain the fans because they was getting whooped. They got whooped throughout the whole series all weekend, and then they stepped it up Sunday so they would just save themselves from embarrassment. So the Yankees are running away with the best division in baseball. Right now, you both the Blue Jays and the Red Sox could lead the Central Division. And they would be right there in the NL. They could be leading the Central Division in the NL as well, too. So that's the funniest part about it, that they got so many teams in this division that can make the playoffs right now. You got 3 teams that could make the playoffs right now in their division. 3 teams. And you only get 4 into the playoffs, right? So they got Toronto and Boston sitting right here, then Tampa Bay sitting right here. And believe it or not, the Orioles are playing good baseball this season as well, too. They don't have a 500 record, but they're 30-38, 70 games in. Nobody expected that out of them, especially with the slow start that they had. They've been playing way better baseball, and they've been one of the better home teams in baseball as well, too. So there's a lot of competition in the East right now, but it's keeping the Yankees motivated. It's keeping them strong. So the Yankees playing great baseball. They're getting everything that they expected out of Aaron Judge. Stanton has stepped it up as well, too. And then they're getting big numbers from guys that you didn't expect big numbers from, like Matt Carpenter. So it is what it is at the end of the day. The Yankees are playing absolutely lights out. And 50-17 at this point, nobody can be mad about that at all. The Yankees are doing their thing. The boys from the Bronx looking to go ahead and add number 28 to their World Series room. But we still got a lot of time. All right, so let's move on and talk about the Guardians. The Guardians have been playing very, very good baseball as of late, and they've actually won 17 out of their last 22 games, to be exact. They really started balling at the end of May because they had just came off of a pretty long, extensive losing streak, you know what I mean? And it looked like you had already counted the Guardians out. I said, damn, these guys, they're just not going to get it together. And they wound up getting it together. So they did win they won 5 in a row before losing to the Dodgers. They've won their last, when I'm looking at, since in the month of June, they've lost 4 times, okay? And they lost once on the way out in May. Now, what I see here is they're 13-4 this month. So that's pretty good. And then they came to LA this weekend and won 2 out of 3. We're able to get a good sweep over the Rockies as well during the week. And then also we're able to, do their thing against the win series against the Orioles and the Rangers and the A's. So they've played really good baseball for a team that really had a lot of time to kind of catch up, because the Central is kind of a weird division. It's about who's going to get hot. And right now they are 1 game back, but they have the least amount of losses in the Central as well too. They're 34-28 on the year. They have a differential of plus 35 as well too. So it's only a matter of time before the Guardians take over first place in the AL Central. I think that they're back on point because now they have Terry Francona back full time, and their team is not based like a lot of the MLB teams today, who base their teams off of a lot of power and just decent pitching. The Indians try to win with great pitching and mindful baseball. They have a lot of athletic guys, a lot of speedy guys. They're not too worried about balls leaving the yard. They're worried about getting consistent hitting and getting runs scored. That's all what it's about right now, and that's what's putting them in a good position. You possibly could get the Guardians-Yankees championship series as well too, which will be big for the league because both fan bases are huge, and the Indians and Yankees always supply very good theater in the playoffs as well too. So I think that this can be a big moment for the city of Cleveland with the brand new name of the team and the way that they've been, the way that it didn't get the reception that you wanted it to, but it is what it is. It's a sign of the times, but they're not letting that stop them at all. And they're just moving towards trying to be, trying to bring Cleveland their first World Series in the last 70 years. So, hey, it is what it is. They got a good plan going. They got a lot of really good players here. And they impressed this weekend against the Dodgers. And you know what? They just, it wasn't about the Indians being bad. The Dodgers just ran into a hot team. Now, if the Indians still were struggling and still having issues, then that would be different. But that's not the case. So, it is what it is at the end of the day, but the Guardians, hottest team in the league, not named the Yankees, and hey, they're very close to being in first place. All right, so let's move forward and let's go ahead and talk about the Dodgers. And the Dodgers have themselves a 9-game road trip coming up that starts in Cincinnati tonight. They got 3 with Cincinnati. Then they have a weekend series as well, too. That's going to be 3 games as well. The Dodgers will not have any time off for a while, it looks like, as well, too. So the Dodgers are going to play for the rest of the week. They go to Atlanta this weekend. Then they fly to Colorado after. And it's crazy because the Dodgers do have to play the ESPN game as well, too. They're playing the night game on Sunday, and then they have to fly to Denver for their next game, and they're going to be, and then they don't have a day off until the Dodgers don't get a day off until for a while. The Dodgers don't get a day off until July 11th, all right, after yesterday. So the Dodgers are going to be playing a lot of baseball here in the next 2 weeks. So, 3 weeks actually. So the Dodgers have to prepare themselves for probably the toughest stretch of the season. And so it starts in Cincinnati. Cincinnati is one of the worst teams in baseball right now. They are 23-43 on the year. Definitely in last place as well, too. Now, do they have the worst record in baseball? Let's see. The worst record in baseball. Well, that belongs to the A's. So, yeah, the A's, the Cubs, and the Nationals, Royals as well, too, and the Tigers, kind of usual suspects in a sense, the teams that you sense would not be good this year. So pretty much I say to this. I say that, look, the Dodgers are probably in the stretch run where they had to make a nice little winning streak here. It's tough to win without Mookie Betts. We're starting to realize that. And the Dodgers did go get some more outfield help by getting Trace Thompson, Clay's brother, the other day. And Trace did play for the Dodgers as well, too. He actually wasn't that bad with the Dodgers. It's just at the point in time when he played for the Dodgers, there just wasn't any room. He was traded to the White Sox, and he's bounced around in the MLB a lot since then. But they brought him back for cash considerations. It doesn't necessarily mean they're bringing him to the big club, but they have him there on reserve. And they need an outfielder, and it is what it is at the end of the day. Mookie should be back in the next week or two, maybe a month, but the Dodgers got to stay afloat because Mookie's huge, but they still got a lot of players that can fill that void, and I think that it's time for Freddie Freeman to go ahead and step it up. He's making a lot of money right now. He's doing good, but you guys do better. You got to get JT to step it up, Bellinger to step it up a little bit as well too. And you're really missing Corey Seager this year, and everybody knows that Corey Seager's doing good in Texas, but you still need him in the middle of that infield. So if Gavin Lux can step it up on this road trip, that would be huge as well, too. So we're going to see how this one shapes up. But I do really like the setup for the Dodgers here in this 9-game series, in the 9-game road trip. I think that the Dodgers can be above 500. They should get at least 6 out of 9 of these games, in my opinion. I would say this: you got to win 2 games in each series. You just got to win each series. That's it. You don't have to sweep them. You just got to win each series. That will wind up giving them a 6-3 record before they go back to the ravine. So that should be good moving forward. And you got a Padres team that is struggling right now, even though they were red hot for a minute. The Dodgers have to take advantage of that as well, too, because the Dodgers kind of got caught up in the storm, losing these games against teams that they should have beat or games they should have won. But some bad decision-making was made. It was some bad decision-making, some bad pitching, some bad hitting. The Dodgers are leaving way too many guys on base as well, too, and that's been a problem for a while now. That was a big problem in the playoffs last year. That's why they got sent home by the Braves. So the Dodgers have to work on that, and they got to get the guys that can get guys home. You know what I mean? RBIs left and right. You know how it goes. But there it is. There it is. So we're pretty much going to go ahead and take one more commercial break. And when I get back, we're going to go ahead and break down Talkin Tickets and get you guys situated. I got the PrimeTime PK6, and I also have the DogDay PK4. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles Live.
The Viget app, where social media meets sports betting. Get the latest line movements in all major sports. Track your daily bets, daily contests, the NFL over-under contest that pays out $10K in cash prizes. This is a cutting-edge app that helps betting be easy. Sign up with the reference code POPDBIC and you will be able to watch my daily show, The PrimeTime Angles, as a resource to building that bankroll. Viget is available in your Apple or Google Store on your iOS or Android. The social sports betting app, Viget.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump into Talkin Tickets. Talkin Tickets is showing up. It's going to show up in a minute, y'all. Okay, there it goes. All right, so you guys see it. Yeah, DogDay PK4, 28-1. I like the Cubs today with the plus 135. The Cubs in a spot to where the Cubs are in a spot today where they can get themselves a nice upset, in my opinion. I think that the Cubs both the pitchers are somewhat the same, and you got a Cubs team that's not playing great baseball, but come on, it's the Pirates. You know what I mean? So it's kind of an even call. And you can see bettors are now starting to bet this down a little bit. Now, I know Swarmer has not been good, in his last, and he hasn't been good. You look at his ERA and be like, damn, he's not that good. But he did get shellacked by the Padres, who were on a hot streak, and then the Yankees as well too. So he ran into two of the better teams in the league. And now when he pitched against Milwaukee and St. Louis, you got to understand he's still a puppy. They just brought him up from the minor league. So he had a good 6 innings, 6 strikeouts in his debut. Then he comes back, strikes out 5 as well too. So he's striking guys out. He's getting guys out. It's just that, he's prone to getting a lot of runs scored on him. But this is something where he can breathe a little easier today because he's going against the Pirates. Pirates got Rosny Contreras on the mound. Contreras was pretty good last time out. He gave 6 hits, 4 runs, and he had 2 Ks. But he was phenomenal against the Braves with 7 strikeouts. But he was even better against Arizona, and that was the last time he pitched at home. So I know that's probably helping him out because his ERA at home is much better than it is on the road. And I think that's where the Pirates are the favorites at. But I think that they can outlast the pitcher today. And I think that Swarmer will have enough stuff to keep the Cubs in the game. So that's why I like the Cubs with the plus 135. One of my better dogs of the day, in my opinion. Then we got the Nats and the Orioles in this, cross the river situation, the DMV rivalry. And I think this always goes to the team that is playing the worst baseball. Now, you have a Nationals team that actually just came off of losing 8 games in a row, and they've actually dropped their last 11 out of 14 as well, too. They have had a very bad month this month, and they're actually 6-13 on the month. So they got to do better today. They should do better today. They're going against an old rival today as well, too. Now, Baltimore has been good in their last week or so. Baltimore has won their last 3 out of 4 games, and they're playing much better baseball, but they were at home, and they've had their road struggles as well, too. But I would think this, though. Tonight, the Nats should be able to be really good in this spot because I really do think that they're setting the Orioles up for an overbet. A lot of people will probably be all over Orioles in this spot, and they're probably going to get bit in the butt in this spot because when the line is this short, it's telling me that pretty much it can go either way. When I see that this is now dropped down to a plus 110, I feel like I'm in a good spot here. And sometimes you can just have a bad favorite, and I just feel like today the Orioles are a bad favorite. I could see a overplay on them as well too. Now we got the Rays going in a rivalry game at home today. I got them with the plus 145. Yes, the Yankees hottest team in baseball right now, as we already talked about. They've only lost twice this month as well too. So the Yankees got that working for them. But this is a division rival as well too. So the Rays come to play. And the Rays have struggled though. They've actually lost 8 out of their last 10, and they've only won so many times this month. They only won 7 times this month. But when you look at their situation right now, it's not that bad. You know what I mean? Like they're kind of like right in the middle. They're having an above 500 month. They had a good start to the month, but they've struggled here in their last 10 games, though. I'll just be honest with you guys about that category. Like their last 10, it's not been good. But they got swept by the Yankees. They went to tough Baltimore, and this was their last road trip. So pretty much they're back at home, and this should make up for it because they played much better baseball at home this month because at home, they're 5-3. They're 4-3 this month at home, and they've only played 7 home games. So pretty much tonight, I think that they get some get back tonight against the Yankees, and I like how the matchup's setting up. I do like them tonight with the plus 145. And then we got the Royals playing over at the Big A in Anaheim tonight, and they do have Jonathan Heasley on the mound. Heasley, he's a guy that he walks a lot of guys, but he's pretty consistent. He got a good ERA. He pitched against San Francisco last time out. Didn't get a decision, but he was decent. He went 4 innings, gave up 2 runs, and he had 4 Ks. But he was lights out the game before that against Baltimore, striking out 7, only giving up 1 hit over 7 innings. And he pitched pretty good against the Astros and the Indians as well too. But he does have a tendency to give up 2 or more runs each game out. But he's a pitcher of consistency, and he's been pitching his best baseball actually in his last 3 games. So I think Heasley's in for a pretty good game. You got Reed Detmers, who did have a no-hitter. Yes, did have a no-hitter. And it's crazy because he had a no-hitter and he only had 2 strikeouts that day. It wasn't like he was blowing guys away. And then coming off the recent loss to the Dodgers, he only went 3.2 innings in that one. So he's a guy who's not in there for a long time, to be honest with you. He hasn't went over 6 innings or better since that. He has all season. The only time he went over 6 innings was when he had the no-hitter. And the no-hitter was mostly because that was just a really good day for the Angels. So pretty much when you look at his numbers, they're decent, but I don't know if I can trust him tonight with this big spread. That's my whole thing. You know what I mean? They're a -165. I don't like that number. I know the Royals aren't one of the better teams, but the Angels have been struggling for some time now. And the Angels are not up to par the way that we want them to be up to par. This team lost 12 in a row. They started the month of June losing their first 8 in a row. So it hasn't been good for them, and then dropping, and literally they've been better the last week or so. They've won their last 4 out of 6, but they just struggled so bad to start this month off. That's just the sad part about this situation with them. Now 2-11 to start the month off, but 4 out of 6 the last the 4-2 the last 6 games. So that works out kind of well for them. But all in all, though, I like the Royals tonight. I think the Royals get the nice upset here. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out, and we move forward from there. Now we have the primetime pick 6 tonight. We got the Marlins 37. Marlins with the -125 tonight. They're going against their old expansion buddies, the Colorado Rockies. And then you have the Dodgers today. I think the Dodgers bounced back big time. They had a day off as well, too. And the Dodgers have been a much better team when they get a day off going on a road trip. And then they're going against a team that they should beat up on today in the Reds, and they had a pretty good time against the Reds to start the season off as well too. So the matchup makes total sense to me that the Dodgers should dominate today after having such a rocky weekend. And you know what? Those 2 losses that they had against the Indians were so close. It wasn't like the Indians blew them away. They were very well-pitched games, and there were some decisions that were made, and the Indians were the ones that came out with the better results. It is what it is, but I think the Dodgers bounce back, and they bounce back huge today and get themselves a nice win. Now, we got the Tigers today. I had them on the money line for my clients yesterday, but today we're going to do it a little different. I think that they keep it close, and +1.5 seems like a good number to me. Now, if you do like the money line, I would say go ahead and play it. Don't hesitate with it. And then I have the under 9 with the Giants and the Braves today as well, too. That should be a good spot as well. We had the Giants yesterday as a +125 on the pick 6. They lost that game, but it's okay because today we're going to have ourselves a really good pitching matchup, and I love the under 9 with the Giants and the Braves. And then the Twins playing against the Guardians today. I think that the pitching matchup favors the Twins today. I think that the Twins know that they're starting to lose a big grip on that lead that they had. They had about a 7-game lead, now is down to 1. And if the Indians win tonight, then possibly they'll be tied because they are 2 games. They have 2 losses more than the Indians. So the Twins will probably take this first game tonight. That's why I like them with the -160. One of their better pitchers is on the mound. And we all know that Savall has been struggling all season, or is a Plesac, I think, pitching tonight. But all in all, the Indians are playing much better baseball, but this is kind of a crunch game, and I favor the Twins a little bit more here in the opener of this spot. And then we have the over 8 with the Phillies and the Rangers. This is an interleague matchup. This should be a lot of fun because both these teams got some really good hitters. You got Bryce Harper going against Corey Seager. you know, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a good series, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of runs scored tonight. So we got that one set up at 37-1. So there it is. There it is. That's going to be the talking tickets for tonight. And you guys are the absolute best. You guys already know that. And I know I went a little bit further than I wanted to. You know, the show used to be like an hour, but I'm trying to make sure it's like 30, no longer than 40 minutes and things like that. But it's all good. We just need to go ahead and win the day. And you guys are the absolute best. There is no me without you. So pretty much, I'll be back tomorrow. We'll be talking some basketball. We got the draft coming up. Also, going to be talking a little bit of football as well too. And you know, we got to talk about some baseball as well. I'm going to be getting into who's been the biggest disappointment this season and who's been the biggest surprise this season as well. So, and also, we always got talking tickets. So make sure that you tune in. This show is available on my YouTube. It's also available on the PrimeTime Angles Facebook page. Also available on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube, and also available on my Twitter at PopDBIC as well too. So you guys make sure to watch, share, retweet, whatever you got to do. Let's get some numbers, as me and my boy Maka like to say. So there it is. There it is. This is the Premier Sports Betting Show with the one and only Pop DBIC, the Primetime Capper. As I always say, bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.